Welcome to episode 6 of Trigger Bois, Darling in the FranXX. God damn. 6th episode. Can't
Yep.
believe we've come this far. So, to quickly introduce people who are on today, we have obviously the best vampire around, me, Vamp the Vampire. We have with us Munzie.
Yo, I got a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper, baby. And I'm just going to take a little sip. Refreshing.
Nice. Ooh, spicy. So we also have with us Lucy.
If you aren't planning and preparing to shoot up your local school, you're wasting your time. Get on that shit. All right.
All
so
right.
what are we here talking about?
We're talking about episode 6 of Darling the FranXX. Also, this is episode 6 of the podcast. It will continue to be this way forever. So we're gonna just go scene by scene.
Before we miss one episode, which we almost did. But we're here. We're here. We're late, but we're here.
We're late for the second time in a row. This time it's not because of me, but it's all good. Things happen, life happens, but we're here now, and we're triggering, and we're the boys. So, in this episode, the plot is very simple. So I'm just going to start off with the only unique part of the plot, which is the kids are prepping for their, imminent mission to protect the kissing of the facilities. Nothing really happens here. And there's a sort of screen cap we get here where Ichigo says that Hiro is a sibling to her. Some question happened where she was like,
Is this the scene when they're in the hallway?
Yeah, they're in the hallway.
Okay. I
figured you two would have a lot to say about this.
I have something I definitely want to say about this scene.
Shoot.
So, the thing that happens after they do their little talk or whatever, they have a little you're my sibling moment. What happens? 02 walks out and Hero's like, "Hey, 02," and 02 walks down the hallway, and then he's distracted by 02, and he's like, "What'd you say, Ichigo?" And there's just a nice little moment for him to totally cuck Ichigo, or rather 02 to cuck Ichigo from Hiro there, and just have a nice little moment where she gets a little romantic gut punch because her boy's been taken.
Oh yeah, it's pretty. It's not a bad scene, but it's so unnecessary. What they kind of beat on Ichigo, last episode or two, and in this one, it is. I would confirm it as the creators beating on Ichigo now for no reason. No, I don't know why this plot point needs to be in here, other than hey, 02 is now getting closer with Hiro and vice versa. But
the moment when Hiro is like, "Oh hey 02," and then is like, "Wait, what'd you say, Ichigo?" I don't know. It seemed just like a really forced moment of just "Oh, Ichigo's a sad now." I don't know. I was like, "Oh, rip."
Yeah, it was a reminder.
It was awkward for me
in the beginning of the episode. Definitely. I personally was really annoyed by this scene, just because not even because of the scene itself, because I saw a spoiler for a screenshot of Ichigo saying that Hiro is a sibling to her. And since it was so out of context, I was going into the episode when's this gonna happen? Luckily it happened so early on. It's the first couple minutes, but it was an out of context screenshot where it's if it was just presented to me, I thought she was just sort of hating on Hiro, but it was really she was getting cucked and didn't want to say anything in front of like 02. So it was like this whole different dynamic here. It was really annoying. I'm glad it was out of the way right in the beginning. But this is how spoilers can ruin things for me. It doesn't happen often. I control myself most of the time, but it happens. So, next up, the scene actually like takes us like 4 minutes in from like their prepping and then the hallway scene. So now they're just out in the field, and there's a bunch of the mini robots, dinos, approaching with like a really big one.
Big box.
Big
Yeah?
box.
It is just a giant fucking
It's a
box.
giant box.
Literally just a box.
Yeah.
And so there's no formation to them at all, other than like the big box is just a big box, and
They're just
there's-
rolling in. There's a big fucking
There's
army of
just a
Klaxosaurs.
Yeah.
And so, like we talked about last episode, the two teams are positioned as follows. The older team is positioned more forward to kill most of the enemy since they're experienced, and the crew, the kids that we know, are more back towards the facility to catch the stragglers. So, like, for a while, it's just them killing these little robots, nothing happening. You have anything to say about the animation or something?
It was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was a okay, fine little fighto.
I found there was some high moments of high animation, high quality.
Sakuga,
Yeah,
you
it
might
didn't look.
say.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad. I thought it was
Oh.
fine. I did not hate this scene like I do most scenes in this show. So
Yeah.
it had that going for it. I mean, it was good. Sure, it was a good scene.
I was gonna
They
say that
fought.
There's some Sakuga in this specific segment, where they're just killing off these tiny robots. Obviously, this whole episode, by the way, audience, is just a fight scene. Just one big battle.
Oh yeah.
So this is why I'm breaking up into segment as it is. So this segment had a few good, really just any animation where there's heroes mech in 02s,
Strelitzia.
Yeah, I've given up on saying that name a long time ago. But that one, they always animate it super well, and it's super slick. But everything else is almost subpar. It's really bad. So there'll be moments where characters' outlines will be so retarded, and there's also this one screenshot of the mech with the fat dude and that girl.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the mech right now, and I'll probably have it on screen.
The sweet boys mech.
Isn't that is that the green and black one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It holds a
Yeah.
revolver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it in the screenshot that I'll show you guys later, but the audience will be able to see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
The face looks so retarded on that mech.
Does it? I don't remember.
It
I
looks so
do-
retarded for so many different frames.
Talking about bad, the mechs looking bad. There was a shot. I think it was the reveal shot of the swarm, where we had just these really low detail, distance shots of these mechs, and they looked fucking awful. Just because they were drawn to be really tiny and they were only on the screen for a little bit, but they were goddamn if they were on there long enough for me to be like, that looks
Is it?
disgusting.
Do you think it's because the FranXX themselves are kind of pretty high detail in their design, and so from a
Yeah,
distance,
I
they
do think
just
that
might
that's a
look,
part of it.
and they are very thin in their design, and so that probably
Mhm.
they just kind of look awkward when they're from a distance, very tiny and thin and whatnot.
Oh yeah. That could definitely contribute.
Yeah, totally.
I do have to say that they're in terms of like color and whatnot. I feel like they're very simple designs. Like some of the parts may be like high detail, like their weapons sometimes, or like some have like wings on their arms or something, just like feathers, and that kind of is high detail. But yeah. So moving on to the next scene-ish, the main team let a few stragglers through just because there's so many of these robots, and as usual, the kids are kind of like falling over themselves and not like being in sync. They end up pulling themselves together enough to not let a straggler through.
And then Pops shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Or did Strelitzia come in before or after Pops showed up? I don't remember, but I do remember that like 02 and Hero like didn't listen to their orders and like went in before they were supposed to, which is
Of course.
They did. I mean, they didn't make it a big deal. They just did, and then it was like fine. Like not even the commanding like officers like said anything about it. So whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It happened. So
Yeah.
I mean that was the only point. I just wanted to point that was the thing that happened.
Oh
Just
yeah.
classic 02, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
even though Hero suggested it,
Yeah,
but
so,
whatever.
So yeah, that's what happens next. That everything's going decently, but then like 02 is just like let's just jump in. It's kind of looking bad, but they're probably not gonna die. But let's just jump in anyways. Let's just jump in.
Yeah, like it didn't seem like they were struggling that much, and they just hopped in. Whatever. Like it's not even a big complaint for me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like grasping at straws for things to talk about. I mean, nothing like great happened, nothing terrible happened thus far. I have like little points here and there. My main comments are coming in at the end of this episode here.
Yeah. So this segment with Hero and whatnot coming in, that's where the best animation is. That's really all I have to say about that. So they end up killing all the little guys. So the main team, when I say the main team, I'm meaning the peeps, the older team, the secondary team, not our kids. Hashtag
Yeah.
not our kids. They're trying to like hold down this huge cube, but like they're just failing horribly. It's moving as it did even before they tried. So they end up getting themselves like wrecked and out of commission. The kids rescued them, and I don't think any of them die technically. But who cares?
The
about
one
these
kid was
characters
coming like
anyways?
real close to. He was about to get stomped on or something,
Oh, yeah.
right?
One kid, and then like our Shota boy, since he has the fast mech, came in and saved his booty. It was the commander of the frontline squad. So at this point, Hero's like dying of like being consumed by some sort of virus from like 02 or something. It's not talked about in any real terms in the show, as we know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while I was watching the episode. The whole like blue alien sucking on his tit cancer bit that we talked about last episode, because that's where it showed up. I was meditating on that while watching these dull, mindless action scenes, and I think that's a trope that I really like. I don't know why. I don't think it's like used particularly well in this show, but it gave me some insight into something that I appreciate in media, I guess. So there's that.
Oh yeah, like I can appreciate it too. The idea of this character being like consumed by this whatever it is, and it being on like a time limit and like raising the stakes. Just like in terms of the plot for this episode, I can appreciate it.
Right. I don't really like it as a plot element. It feels kind of like like a Deus Ex Machina situation.
Mhm.
Well,
the
you must
reverse?
have hated this episode.
Oh.
can
Oh, I did.
we hop over to that, Vamp? Because I got things to say about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, well,
All right.
I'm not Vamp.
This is Vamp show, so.
All right, so I'm just gonna
Facts.
run through a couple plot points, and I'll let you go free, my friend. So with Hero in the condition he is in, he ends up like, this is 02 as well. So they're piloting the same mech. Attack the big cube guy after he like doesn't become a cube and becomes like a humanoid creature. Just kind of like stomping like a big giant.
Which sounds like it was like a first time thing for that because the kids were all like surprised, like, oh, they come in humanoid forms. So
I don't think
Yeah,
they'd
it-
ever fought a box monster before.
Yeah.
I think the
And-
box monster was a new monster.
well, they said they also had not seen a humanoid shaped one either. So
I'm
I don't
sure
know
the
if it's, like-
transforming is also like a new thing.
yeah.
It was
So
boring.
Hero ends up like failing and not piercing far enough or something.
Oh,
And like, not piercing far enough.
yeah.
Wink, wink. So they end up getting wrecked so bad, and it transforms a third time. This cube, it transforms into this like sort of weird hammer that shoots like forward at them with rockets.
God, it's it's easily like the worst mech design, like robot enemy that I think I've ever seen. It's like so derpy and impractical. It doesn't look like something that should work, and it also doesn't look cool. It's
It
just
doesn't
a
look like
big
it can be balanced.
box with rockets on the back and stumpy little legs, and then it just like punches you. It just punches you against a wall, but it
Yeah,
doesn't really work if there isn't a wall there. Like,
There was a little point about the art in the show. It was just when he transformed into like the big humanoid guy. The background was so dark that in a lot of shots he was just like impossible to like make out like his shape. And then, I mean, you end up getting to discern it, but just like there were some shots where it were so dark that you couldn't discern like the difference between like the body and just a little minor thingy majiggy.
yeah.
I wanted
Oh,
to point
also,
out.
I just wanted to throw out there, awful CGI. Like, the CGI 2D mixing is something that's always bad, and in this show, I mean, it always feels like it's in particular bad, or it's particularly bad in like every show that I watch that tries to mix the two. But goddamn, like, stop it. Like, I don't like that. It's never good.
Yeah, just don't do it. Even if you animate something retarded,
Don't listen to Nike. Do the opposite.
Do the opposite.
Exactly. Michael Jordan, get out of here. Gay.
Mm.
All right.
All right, so I just want to mention
yeah.
that at this point, Hero and 02 are being like pummeled into a sort of barrier between.
Hero's already fucking knocked out.
Yeah,
too.
he's already knocked out, and so 02 can't do anything. She's just sitting there getting beaten up because she's like connected to the FranXX or whatever, just like all the females are, and so she's just freaking out and she's getting like pummeled into the wall. That's just kind of happens for a little bit, but I'll let you free, Munzie.
So Hero gets knocked out here. He and then we see Hero in like a little like dreamscape kind of world, and he's like, "Oh, I'm dead, I guess." And I was like, "Oh, I was just like I was like, I know he can't be dead."
Yeah, right when that happened, right when he died, I was like, oh, he's Kirito. Because there was no question in my mind that he was ever not going to come back.
Yeah, of course. There were no stakes. He was like, "Oh, I'm dead," and so I was like, "Okay, clearly he's not actually dead." Which I was like, sure, if they can explain away how this happens, which they don't in this episode, I hope they do in another episode.
Probably won't.
Do at least that much. But he dies, has some flashbacks, sees his old partner that he like failed with or whatever, who they said wasn't dead, so this clearly isn't like heaven or anything. Where like they're meeting up, because I remember they said she was like okay in the second episode, right? After she got fucked up in that hole.
Yeah, she was okay in the second episode.
So I was like, he's in a dream place because he got knocked out and he's doing bad. And also, the blue shit was like crawling all over up his arms, like he had veins coming up over his arms. It was creeping up to his face and his neck. It was really expanding because this piloting Streletsy in this battle really took a toll on him, as you could tell. So he goes and basically gets like he talks to old partner. He sees 02 and she walks away and he's like, "Why do you look so sad?" And he's like, "Oh wait, you know what? I need to save 02 or else she's gonna die." And then he wakes up and he does that. He was in this shit condition and then he's fine, totally okay. His blue dinosaur AIDS is gone. Or at least it's kind of receded back into his body a little bit. It's not killing him anymore. And then he goes and they beat the fucking monster.
Forgot that it was dinosaur AIDS.
They go and they beat the monster, and I thought that was so fucking dumb that he came back to life from sheer fucking willpower, which, like you said, is literally Kirito.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's like we are going to get shit now that we've said it for comparing the two. But it's the same thing. It's just by sheer willpower of I need to protect this person. I need to do that.
All right, I got a better criticism, Munzie. You can criticize, someone with passion, just bursting through the situation, but it is shown in this trope. But my criticism is that this says nothing about like the idea on top of it, like it just being like a willpower thing, is that like he just really wants he realizes that he cares about 02 and kind of wants to dedicate himself to like helping her. He's gained more passion, not just for piloting, just because it should be his role in society. No, now he wants to help the girl, But
come on, then,
it says
kiss
nothing.
the girl.
Yeah. But weren't we setting up for him to be like... I thought the reason he was piloting with her was he just really liked fucking her, right? He really liked piloting that mech.
Well, he also just found a way for him to pilot a mech, which is all he ever thought his purpose was, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so like he was able to do that, but he found a better reason. He found a less selfish reason,
Yeah.
He's doing it for someone else now, which means it means more, which is, I mean, selflessness is not something I'm necessarily like an advocate for, but that I hold a minority opinion in that.
Yeah. So like, I feel like with this scene, there's sort of set up in episode 5, really that just like, or the whole series really, that like 02 likes Hero because she can pilot with him and he's willing to do it, more than happy, and Hero is he's more than happy, and so it's sort of mutual benefiting relationship here when it comes to like piloting mechs, but they never really get too intimate. They don't get to know each other at all. It's very apparent in this episode.
That's like an interesting thing that you say that, because like nothing aside from like recovering well from his like first rides with 02, aside from recovering quickly, there's no reason to believe like he's still developing this dinosaur AIDS, right? Like he's still not doing well. And at first, like she decides that he's darling off of like some whim for some reason. It's like, I mean, there was nothing. There's like she didn't have a reason to pick him. She just did. So I mean, I don't think that's like a accurate analysis.
She picked him as her darling in the first episode.
Yeah.
For them just kind of
she
being
liked
a
the way he
similar
tasted.
Like how he tasted, and that they were in like a similar situation in life where they're just like alone because.
Was that ever explained for her though? Like they were both alone, but like I think the only reason
that was the lake scene. That was the lake scene.
Does she explain that?
Yeah, she explained that.
Oh, she does. Okay,
yeah.
All right, that's fine. Then.
I mean, it's not like a specifically great reason, even on top of that. But I mean,
like 02's moments are hardly explained, which is like a big problem I have with the series. Is it like And they don't like. She doesn't need like. At the end of the series, I think she makes a good explanation, which is just I need to fight more Calaxosaurs or whatever. Right? That was like
Right.
That's where like the episode ended. Right?
She needs to kill all the Titans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's just Aaron. Oh no, we're gonna get flack for that.
Are
But
we?
Is she just Aaron? I mean, sure. She's
I
Aaron.
mean,
Yeah,
no.
needs to kill every.
I was
needs
just
to
trying to
kill
propagate
everything.
a meme.
Oh, whoa, whoa. Maybe she is Aaron because she also has that Calaxosaur blood, just like Aaron's got that Titan blood. You know.
True facts. True
Oh
facts.
no. We're I think we're
Dude, we're
getting
really
onto
pumping
something.
out the anime memes today, dude.
Yep.
Oh,
SAO,
yeah.
Well,
Attack on
I think
Titan.
it just speaks to like how the show isn't original. It's got a fuck ton of like shonen tropes in it, you know? Like Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online are the biggest shows of like the past few years. So
Of like forever.
yeah, when A1 and Trigger are like, all right, let's make a hit show. Like, why wouldn't they take some notes? You know?
Yeah, no,
Right.
I am totally with you on that one.
Oh yeah, and yeah, they're on Mal. You know, it's become like the fourth like highest or most popular anime this season, as I'm sure I've said in like a couple episodes ago. But at this point, it's climbing so much that it's almost going to be the third. I'm guessing in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's going to beat out Seven Deadly Sins at the rate it's growing compared to
Thank
Seven
God.
Deadly Sins.
Because this is bad. I haven't seen Seven Deadly Sins Season 2, but I'm going to guess just more of Season 1. Seven Deadly Sins is like, if this is garbage, like, Seven Deadly Sins is like garbage that somebody shat on.
I
Like,
mean,
it's bad.
I think we should save that for the Seven Deadly Sins cast, which won't happen.
It will never happen. I
Never
will
happen.
not
Because I'm not
going to
watch any more Seven Deadly Sins that I have.
I've watched all of it, and I'm not going to watch it.
Oh, did
again.
you really? Oh, God.
Yeah, I watched all
I
of it.
dropped the first season, so
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you guys made the right decision. It doesn't get better.
nice.
All right, where do we leave off here? Where do we close this out? Because I feel like I've said my piece about that moment where Hero just comes back to life because he has to.
So just jump
how-
back real quickly. Sorry, Mudzy, but I just
Go
want to
for it.
mention this scene that I kind of skipped over because it was like it's like less than 10 seconds. Actually, no. But remember when Ichigo is freaking out for some reason, and she's just mortified by like
Oh, 'cause she
a
thought Hero
seemingly
died.
losing situation. Yeah, heroes might be killed, and like I'm sure there's some of it like, hey, we're about to just lose everything. We're gonna fail the mission, which will probably mean big things happening. But yeah, she ends up like just getting out of sync with Goro, her partner, and he ends up slapping her, and like there's like a face shot of her with the most pathetic face ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like this, like I mentioned earlier, they're really beating down on Kiri. I was going to say Kirito.
Kirito.
Freudian
See,
slip.
there it is.
Freudian
There it
slip.
is.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I did a bad. But Ichigo is a character from Bleach, but we're not the same Ichigo here.
Oh my God.
I just want to mention that Bleach thing. But with Ichigo, she was a cool character. She was a pretty calm, consistent character. Before these last like couple episodes, but they've just shat on her completely. It's like I know she's not gonna be perfect, but man, I hope she gets a redemption.
That little bit. Ooh. I really don't like characters or people who lose sense of logic over emotions. It's just, I mean, I try not to do that a lot of the time.
But what about Kamina?
What? Kamina was a good boy. He didn't
But
deserve to die.
Kamina's all like emotions over logic, right?
We'll save that for the Gurren Lagann cast. How about that? Because I do really like Kamina. And maybe one day we will have a Gurren Lagann cast.
Yeah.
Because that is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, we should definitely do a
I
Gurren
do like
Lagann
Kamina.
podcast. If we're gonna do it, I definitely suggest that we don't do it episode by episode. Just
Right.
review it as a whole. Maybe we can call it Trigger Boys if you wanted.
No,
technically not Trigger.
I mean, it's so closely related to Trigger that we might. But
Mm-hmm.
we're going on a little tangent. I don't like people and therefore characters that do that. And so in this situation where like Ichigo is like, you know what, I could probably die here, but I'm gonna freak out instead. And I understand like having a moment of that. But like she just completely lost everything instead of like
Yeah,
I
she
understand
completely
he's
shuts
sinking or
down.
whatever, but she shuts down and had to literally get slapped back into it. She would not have been able to recover from that on her own. So,
Yeah, and it's
but it
not
was
like-
fine because Hiro doesn't die, and so Hiro can't die. They have proved it that Hiro cannot die.
Oh yeah. So
I did have a little thought in the back of my head when that happened too, of
Mhm.
maybe he is actually dead, and we're gonna get this situation. We're gonna get the communist situation where like MC dies and they have to deal with the aftermath. But you know it wasn't gonna be like that anyways. So
Yeah.
fuck it.
Once I saw like in that scene of like him being quote unquote dead. Once I saw Naomi, his old partner.
I am shocked that you remembered her name because I did not.
I'm shocked I can say it. Like I remember thinking immediately, wait, he's not dead. Even if he was dead, he was never going to be dead forever. And secondly, like, this means that I think he's just like hallucinating hard right now, just like in his own like imagination, because he's just like about to die or whatever.
I mean, yeah, that's very possible that he just kind of like blacked out and came back to, but it was by, like I said, it's by sheer force of will, and he doesn't. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
It's by sheer force of will, and he regains full health. It's some bullshit,
He gets Max revived.
dude. He does.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
fucking. It is. It's bullshit.
Oh,
I don't like it.
So yeah, my biggest problem with the scene, just before we move on to like the end of the episode, is that like what nothing is learned here by the characters other than like Hiro just like suddenly basically like, oh no, this girl in front of me, she's like getting wrecked and she's like all alone. I just had a near-death experience. Maybe I should appreciate her more. So I'm just gonna like care about her now. I'm just gonna care about her now. It's like I actually explained it better than probably more
Well, I think-
convincingly than the episode did.
Well, I mean that's fair because he was like she maintained fighting. He was like asking like why do you still fight even though like you should like we're fucked. And that's just her thing. She needs to fight, and I don't know. I guess he learned to care that like that's what she cared about or whatever, or because it wasn't that she was trying to save his ass. Like
Oh,
she
yeah.
was either trying to save her own ass or just just do what she's got to do and kill Klaxosaurs. It was kind of weird.
Oh yeah. So she is a samurai, and she enjoys the battlefield. That's all I know. So she's also
Fight to the death.
like hedonist. And I also realized, looking back at episode 5, that like she's a sociopath.
Was that not obvious?
Like
based on
to a
the
degree, but it was just so
lack
blatant.
of caring about literally anybody else and terrible social interaction.
Yeah, but there was that scene in that first episode where it was like, if I don't do something, everyone's gonna die. You know, she's sitting there like after she kicked her dead partner out of her mech, you know, about to like single pilot, try to take down the Klaxosaur. It was like, that doesn't really indicate, like that scene didn't indicate that she was like specifically like selfless or like driven to save everyone, or that she was like just loved fighting. It said neither of those things. So this show is just poorly.
I mean,
written.
I think we've definitely. I mean, this episode she just says she has to fight them, whether or not that means she does it because she likes fighting, or she does it because of other reasons. All we know is that she has to, according to herself. So take that as you will, I guess.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it was obvious she was a sociopath, but man, this show needs to get better writer. Also a better director.
Yup.
I'm sorry.
'Cause the direction in the show is so boring.
So boring.
It's so
The shot
bland.
composition is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my whole life. The most
Yeah.
basic shots. Like, so the first episode had a few decent shots, but they weren't even that like standout or high impact. They're just like kind of just like whatever, cinematography tricks, you know.
Mm.
I sure I mentioned it in the first episode of this podcast, but let's just move on to the last scene, where after Hero boosts and comes back to life, he wrecks the big Calaxosaur. When it dies, wings of light spurt out of it and flap, and it's the most retarded looking thing because the wings are super long compared to its body, and it just kind of flaps up and then explodes into like a beautiful,
It's really weird.
like blue liquid mess. But it's like it just
I don't know what happened to me, but I missed that, and I wish I saw that.
It wasn't even.
That sounds incredible.
It's pretty silly.
It was incredibly retarded.
Nice.
Yes, I do want to mention that when I say beautiful, like blue liquid mess, it wasn't beautiful. It was just like I like the blue sort
It
of
just
liquid that comes
reminds
out.
me. The blue
but it wasn't
just
special or
reminds me
anything.
of like every time in like school where I would step on a blue ink pen and it just exploded all over my boot. Like that's
Did that
what it
happen
reminds.
to you a lot? Oh,
Once
you
or
were
twice.
angsty enough to just step on every pen. That's right.
I mean, it was both of those things. Like it was something that came upon me, and then it like became a part of my experience. You know, man.
Oh, I see a pen. Gotta step on it.
Oh hell yeah!
Gotta
But
step on that fucking pen.
it's just like that sort of explosion of the particular tone of blue just makes me like think of junior high hallways and like acne.
That's nostalgic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Whew.
All right, so we close this. Let's close this episode out.
All
Let's
right.
close out this
Last
episode of Dylan and Friends.
last part I do want to mention. So they beat it, and everyone's happy. Cool. And then like at the very last second, we're given like a shot, or like little pan onto these like couple characters, 3 characters specifically, I think, with these weird white uniforms.
Oh yeah,
and
those dudes.
Oh yeah. We did end on this kid with blonde hair, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be a
Yeah.
guy.
yes, that blonde guy has like 2 other characters with him. I can't remember what they look like, but I'm sure they're gay.
Well, I'm sure they're very gay for each other. The little kid was cute too. He's like he's like white-haired anime guy, but he's like young, I guess. It's whatever. I'm not gonna like
Listen,
him,
the
I'm
Aryan
sure.
race needs to survive, and I'm glad it's apparent here. And I am joking about the Aryan race, if that wasn't clear, audience.
Oh
All right,
no,
JonTron.
Vamp is an actual Nazi.
No.
Yes.
I mean, listen, I may be alt-left, but I'm not a Nazi.
Mhm.
I'm just
So
alternative.
alt left that you're alt right.
Nice. So yeah, it's the end of the
There was
episode.
there's
You
another
guys wanna
thing that
say?
they talked about though that I wanted to mention in the end of this episode, which he brings back up the two-headed bird or whatever, the birds with one wing where they lean on each other, the fictional bird with 2 wings they lean on each other with. I just had this thought, like, is that like a Japanese like folklore thing, or did they just make that up? Because I really hope it has some basis in reality. Otherwise, it's stupid.
I personally have no
I
idea.
don't know.
But they bring it back. They call back to it all the way back from episode 1. They call back to it episode 6, and I hope you remembered because it was the only time they mentioned it was in episode 1, and they're back, and that's what they are. So End. Start of the arc. End of the arc. Bingo bango.
Yeah. So this is a clusterfuck of an episode.
For how simple it was, it's just bad things happened in the episode. So.
Oh yeah. So this is the point, officially, audience who've been listening up to this point, where I, the sort of defender of Darling the Franks, officially relinquished that title.
Oh shit!
Oh baby, it's getting real. It's real
Because
now.
this is like where I feel like the first act of the anime has finished, and it has proven to be like 4 out of the 6 episodes to be disappointing, and I don't think I'm gonna enjoy most of my time with this.
I'm
as I
surprised it
expected.
took you that long, Vamp. Welcome to the other side.
Welcome to the club. Trigger Boys turns into Fuck Darling and the Franks, the podcast.
Yeah, ironically,
Hell yeah.
Trigger Boys podcast, the podcast that's supposed to be about, praising and loving Trigger shows, but we start off with like the one that we're gonna hate.
Yeah, this is
Hell
the
yeah.
bad one.
Oh, yeah.
Yup.
And so, like, I was so hopeful after episode 2. I was so hopeful.
Sorry, Vamp.
Sorry,
It's
man.
only gonna. We've got 18 more episodes of this shit fest,
The
dude.
plot isn't interesting. It's just the worst part. I want a slice of life, Darling the Franks. That'd be 20 times better.
I mean, maybe if it allowed them to make interesting characters, I would like it.
Oh yeah.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
They would have to put
Yeah,
emphasis on the writing
so-
for the characters if it was slice of life.
Or they don't, and then it just becomes a bad slice of life anime too.
I would
Yeah.
imagine it would be a sitcom at that point.
Yeah, but yeah, sorry to anybody who was still into this show because we had fair and balanced opinions about Dog and the Franks through Vamp's defense of it, but now I guess it's just gonna be a shit fest now.
I will
Yeah,
point out
was.
things that are good and bad. Both of which, as I have thus far, anyways. But I wouldn't expect too much from Vamp to go out of the way
Yeah.
to praise it unnecessarily yes. So, any last thoughts, guys?
How much Darling the Franks Dojin is out there? Has somebody in this Discord call checked that yet?
I have not checked it. We could check it right now.
Link us in the comments to any good Darling and the Franks Dojin you found.
Hell yeah.
Because I'd be down. David likes doing shit like that. David's a memer. David, find some Darling and the Franks Dojin for us.
David's not caught up on this show.
Oh, damn it, David, stop watching our show.
not
no.
caught up, I'd say. David's a college boy now. Subscribe to David's
films. Oh, it's David. It's David Solm now.
Is it? Oh, subscribe to David Soul.
Subscribe to David Solm. Do we have anything else we
Alright.
need to say?
Subscribe to
We're
Vamp the
we're
Vampire.
getting fucking. We need to stop talking. Let's just cut it off.
All right.
We're talking
we're
too
done.
much about bullshit.
All right, quick announcement on N Hentai. As of right now, as of this recording, the 22nd of February, there is no dojins on N Hentai. That's all I'm saying. All right.
All right, we gotta expand your hentai, your dojin reading.
In due time, it
to
will
different
have a bigger
realms.
database. So
I'm sure.
let's say goodbye, Trigger Boys, to the folks at home.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.